Welcome to the P list. Welcome to the P list. Welcome to the P list. Yeah, what's going on, suckers? Yay! This is Veronica. You loving the day off? Cool. Go ahead and enjoy your life elsewhere. We'll see you later during the recording for the new wrestling league that I'm starting through the channel. You'll see. Bye. I'm taking a rare day off, and that means I'm going to be able to knock out a bunch of video stuff. So I wanted to start, but I'm going to play with my kids too. We're going to play Jackbox on the TV, which we freaking love, and they get to outsmart me and all that kind of good stuff. Did you say true? Get upstairs!
I need my book, so.
You need your book you're going to read?
Yeah.
Weirdo. So, obviously, things are crazy. I'm going to try to knock out the thing about my new wrestling league that I've purchased the talent through the dollar store. It's going to be wild and wacky, but it's something that I can keep up with and post every time I feel. I'm also going to try to get out a comfortably platinum because if nothing else, I've got to look at that video of the fans and the havens and all that crazy stuff. So I'm going to do my best to keep myself, my kids, and all of you entertained through my channel. Yeah. So this P list, what's it about? In light of the CV, right? YouTube, we're not supposed to say. In fact, interesting thing, the thumbnail for the Comfortably Platinum. So the thumbnail that I have for Comfortably Platinum, I've decided is going to be whatever's happening at the time, so that way I can mark it in time without putting a date. Example, the first one, Max von Sydow just died, and so the thumbnail is of me like looking at a picture of him as being the Merciless. And the second one was going to be when all this CV stuff really started popping off, and so it was me sort of spraying and looking scared of CV, right? But just having the picture of that made it so the thumbnails wouldn't work at all. So I had to change the thumbnail and all that stuff. So just know when I say CV, and which I'm going to have to refer to constantly, because that's our new reality right now. And so to not address it or talk about it seems remiss and kind of stupid. And as my role, I have a lot of different roles through this channel, but one of those roles is teacher. And why am I going to pretend things aren't happening as they're happening? But I have to just know if I refer to something as CV, I'm talking about you know what. Cool. But I have no urge of getting my channel taken down and the videos not shown or whatever the fuck. So this is top 10 things wrestlers can do during this CV period where shows aren't running. We can have a debate and we can have a discussion, and I'm sure I will during full disclosure, about whether people should be running shows and that kind of thing. That's a discussion for a later time. But the fact is, most shows have canceled, right? The only shows that ran in the Georgia area last weekend were Anarchy, WrestleAmerica, and a couple shitty ones. Sorry, Truth. New Era and whatever else ran. So, and let's face it, WrestleMania is going to be canceled or postponed, right? Or run in a form that's not a giant stadium with 70,000 people in. I don't know what the fuck they're even doing, pretending that it might go. It's not going to go in that stadium. It's not going to happen. And thus, I think all of those indie shows, and there are a shit ton. We're not talking just one a day leading up to WrestleMania week. Every night. And I mean from the weekend before WrestleMania. So you're looking at Friday, really, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 9 days of shows, and an average of 3 to 4 shows for each one of those nights. It's 27, at least, indie shows that I counted. None of them are happening. They're not going to happen. And holding out hope that they're going to happen, I think, is really silly at this point. So, but what are 10 things you can do, right? Within chaos, and we're in chaotic time, breeds opportunity. So here's 10 things that you can do as a wrestling person during this time. Ready? Number 10, learn a physical / auditory thing. What the hell does that mean, Steve? It means this. Learn a song and learn to sing it perfectly. Memorize a poem and recite it. What is this, fucking school, Steve? Bear with me. Learn another language. What? How many of you say you want to get booked in Japan? Do you think you would impress them if you could speak Japanese? How much more could you enjoy Japan when you get there if you could speak Japanese? How much could you ingratiate yourself with the Japanese people if you could speak Japanese and cut promos in advance of your appearance in Japanese? Do you understand me now, fuckers? How many wrestlers are doing that right now? You want a leg up in this shit? What, memorizing a song and fucking singing it? Why? Have you ever done something and refined it to the point of perfection? You learn more about yourself and what you're capable of doing. Reciting a poem. Reciting a poem is about figuring out things rhythmically with your voice. Not to mention vocabulary you may not be comfortable with. If I gave you a homework assignment right now to find the tiger, right? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night. What immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? If I asked you to go find that poem, memorize it, and then say it, you would be exercising things in your brain that you may have never exercised before or haven't exercised since you were forced to do it in school. I see a lot of people complain, like, in school they don't teach you practical shit like how to balance a checkbook and how credit cards work and do your taxes and and all they're doing is teaching you all this useless shit. It is a sign of pure ignorance if you're one of those people that say things like that. Could they teach more practical life skills? Sure. But the reason they're having you learn all this different stuff is because of what it does to your brain and how it helps you evaluate and how it helps you engage in critical problem solving. Here's an indication that people don't get it. The people who always cry and bitch and moan that they learn nothing good in school are always the dumbest people that I know with the worst problem solving skills. Coincidence? I think not. How about learn a dance? My kids engage in this behavior. Well, they're, like the renegade, that's the hot new dance. So my kid learns it and practices it all the time. Why? Does she want to become a dancer? No. But she understands, being at a performance art school where she's going out to these auditions, that often there's a dance element to it. So she's like, I'm going to learn the dance. And guess what she did? She had me learn and do it with her. And by teaching me, she was learning twice. Teach yourself how to fucking do something and then how to perfect it and see what that does to you as a person. It's good. 10, learning something physical / auditory. especially that language piece. Think about that hard. You want to go wrestle in Mexico? Learn fucking Spanish. You want to go wrestle in Japan? Learn Japanese. Number 9, study martial arts. I don't mean you have to do it formally. I mean, learn different strikes. There's a billion of them. Learn different submissions. Do you know what a gogoplata is? You might think you know, right? There's a billion different chokes and arm bars and ways to get into them, and flying arm bars and rolling into a leg lock and all this other stuff that you can learn. There was a billion shows put out not that long ago about people going to different countries and learning that particular region of the world's fighting style, and then they would break down the different moves that they did. Go find that shit online and watch it. 1, it's fascinating. 2, you may pick up a couple of things, right? Watch fucking kung fu movies and pick up the routines that they do and the rhythmic way that they go with one another. And then figure out how to make it work in a pro wrestling context. Watch old boxing videos. How do they hold themselves? How do they carry themselves? How do they move? Watch UFC shit or Pride or Strikeforce and see what do people do with their bodies when they're seriously trying to engage people in a physical way. And find ways to incorporate that into pro wrestling. If it is true that audiences expect different things in light of the mixed martial art era, then it would behoove you to be ahead of the game. How many indie wrestlers are doing this right now? Next to none. They might watch as fans, but they're not studying as students. Number 9, study martial arts. Number 8, and I should probably put this higher, but it is where it is. Learn common drills. If you went to an evaluation today at the Performance Center, that one that happened at PWX with New Japan, Ring of Honor, or anywhere else, could you perform the common drills? Well, Steve, I don't know what the common drills are because I wasn't trained as effectively as I think I was. That's fine. Learn them. It's not hard. Go online if you have to. Buy the freaking Harley Race Ricky Steamboat Les Thatcher book and go over those drills. The more familiar and comfortable you are, if you can go there and just knock out these drills, not only are you conserving energy, so you're not getting blown out, so the perception from whoever's evaluating you is your cardio is good. No matter how your body looks, if you can convince them that your cardio is good, and most of that is mental exhaustion and physical exhaustion from having to figure out the drills as you're going along. If you're having to think about what you're doing, it's not as effective as the guy that's just smoothly going through the drills. Not to mention it's just physically safer. You may not know these drills, and this is not me coming down on you or your trainers or anything else. This is me just trying to fix the fucking problem right now. Do you know the common drills in wrestling? And by the way, they've added a bunch since I was actively training that they now look at. Learn those common drills. And realistically, when you begin wrestling in earnest again, once this thing goes and everybody's running shows again and you get there early, because you're supposed to get there early for your bookings, right? Why not run these drills? What does the beginning of a show usually look like? A bunch of wrestlers leaning against the ropes in the turnbuckle and it's fuck around time. Why not just run some common drills so everybody's on the same page, everybody's working in lockstep? Does this sound like a bad idea? I don't think it is, right? And then everybody's familiar with the drills, which will only help your career when you guys get evaluated eventually. And then practice them. That's a great fucking idea, isn't it? And I just thought of that as I was doing this. Number 8. Number 7, wrestling resume. This used to be much more common practice than it is now. And the funny thing is, it would be much easier to put one together now than in my day. In my day, you had to get your shit together on a VHS tape, and then you had to write out a wrestling resume. I have not been asked. At one point, lots of people asked me to help them with their wrestling resumes because I write. That's what I do. But I've been asked much more infrequently. But I am asked to look at people's matches and promos now more. I think people are missing the boat on the wrestling resume. The China book, though, is one of the worst wrestling books ever. Did have this interesting thing where she put together the most professional looking package out of everybody with pictures, matches, written out resume. If you have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about right now, or there's parts of it that you're not so sure about, contact me or contact somebody else who you fucking trust in the wrestling business. Wrestling resume. You should have it together and ready to go. And nowadays it can be digital, right? Your wrestling resume, the resume itself with all of like who trained you, where have you worked, what have you accomplished, which should be less than a page, and your contact information, that could be on a page digitally, right? All your matches you can have links to digitally. If you put together a highlight reel package, like Ashton Starr did, all of you should have that, by the way. Do you not have that together? You should get that together. You have that as well. And then examples of your promos. You should have all of that stuff ready to go in a package that you can just send off to any promoter or any wrestling person at any point in time. Get your wrestling resumes together. It's a great way to use this time. Number 6, promo pics. I am so tired of people and their shitty pics. And I'm tired of wrestlers complaining about the pics that are used. You don't like it? Fucking take your own, dipshits, and provide them. Chances are your phone or your laptop or your tablet of choice takes better pictures than most cameras did 15 to 20 years ago. It's just a matter of setting. Well, yeah, but I'm not quite sure how to take a great picture because, like, you can't look at that shit online. Take some fucking time and come up with a series of promo pics. You as a face, you as a heel, you somewhere in between because you're not sure what they're going to want you to do at a new promotion. As many promo pics as you could throw together. All this money that you fucking spent on gear, if you have more than one getup, and you don't have pictures in each one of those sets of gear, you should have a wide array of promo pics. So get them done. It's a great time to do it. Number 5, master your facial expressions and sells. Models do it. People mock models, right? That's not work. It's fucking easy. No, it's not. They have to know themselves. Without being able to see themselves, they have to be able to come up with the best smile. If I told you right now, be honest, listen and understand. If I told you right now, give me your best smile. How many of you have a great smile for a camera? Close to 0, especially guys. You have to have one. And if that means you've worked that shit until you feel and see how your face looks when you have a great smile, and then you can pull that out of yourself whenever you have to, you're ahead of 100% of indie wrestlers. Do you understand that? This is another one of those things like learning a language of the country you want to wrestle in, that you can be miles ahead of everybody else right now. Can you smile? Can you look shocked? Can you put a thing over? You know where I really learned to do this? It wasn't through wrestling, though I did practice it in wrestling, but I didn't get great at it until I did improv. Because then I would see how the other people, the men and women on stage, would be able to successfully convey emotion and get laughs out of it by mugging. And I realized I thought I was good at it, and they were great at it. So I was determined to become great at it. Sells. Ricky Steamboat, the legend says, used to watch old boxing videos so he can see what people did, how their bodies really reacted when they got hit by a punch, right? And then he worked at it until he could do it. Watch a Ricky Steamboat match from back of the day. The most impressive thing about him are his cells. How many wrestlers are doing that right now? How does it look when you take a hit that crumples you to the ground? How does that look in UFC? How does it look? What kind of painful expressions are made when you're trying to grit through an armbar? What does your face do when you're being choked out? Number 5 is master facial expressions and cells. Now we're getting into the heavy ones. Number 4, evaluate how you spend your time. The things not being normal is a great time to look at what your normal is when you can step back and have a little time, like me right now. Right? Normally I'm just working. What is your schedule? How are you putting how are you putting the time into the things that matter to you? Do you have a problem being late to shows? How are you going to fix that? Do you want to get to the shows even a little earlier so you can work on the drills? How can you make that happen? It's generally just writing shit down and then forcing yourself to stick to it. Are you getting in your workouts every day? Are you working on yourself and your career every day in a formal, no distractions, get it done way? Evaluating how you spend your time is something all of us should do constantly in every aspect of life, but wrestlers even more so, because you're competing against everybody else. That's the truth. So what are you doing that nobody else is doing? And being as efficient as you can with your time. And yes, you should make out time to have fun, enjoy yourself, spend time with your family and all of that. But the more you regulate and evaluate and schedule these things, the better off you will be. Number 4 is evaluate how you spend your time. And something else you can do during this CV period: budget and evaluate your money. You know what you get paid on various shows that you're on, but how much gas do you spend to get there? Do you eat afterwards? And how much money should you have to spend on that? These are hard questions, aren't they? How can you make more money at these shows? You know, you always hear about wrestlers saying like, "Oh, you know, I'm selling these gimmicks, I'm selling these shirts." Are you making a profit doing that, or is that just something to stroke your own ego to say that you have a shirt, but you're not really making money off of it? That could be the truth. And maybe it's because the place where you're getting your t-shirts is too expensive. Maybe there's a cheaper way to do it. Maybe there's a better way to do it. Lots of people are doing this kind of thing, but very few of them are analyzing it down to the penny. And it behooves you to do that. This is not to say that if you're not turning a certain amount of money on every show that you're doing, it's a waste of time. No, you can evaluate that for yourself, but I think you would be surprised once you had to break down the money thing. And maybe that's the reason a lot of people don't do it, is they don't want to face the reality of, I'm losing money on this shit, but right now I can tell myself that I'm making money on this shit. Budgeting and evaluating the money situation will probably also make you realize what is your time worth, and then how can you reach the goals. It's definitely worth doing. This really could have been number 1. I'm almost regretting that I didn't put it number 1. Nonetheless, number 2, work out an angle or program. Here's a story. Back in the 80s, early 80s, Sergeant Slaughter, before his this is when his NWA, was like, I need to make some fucking money. We need to make some fucking money. He had a tag team partner, Don Kernodle. And on one particular road trip, since they were spending so much time, they bought a composition book, right? I've got a shit ton. And they just wrote out an angle. And at the end of that angle, what they wanted was a huge money drawing program. So Sergeant Slaughter and Don Kernodle said, you know, we want to be these great heels. Who are these great baby faces we could work with? They picked Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood. And then they mapped out this entire angle. And at the end of that angle, when they did that cage match, 20,000 people came. And they had to turn thousands away. And they blocked the freeways because there were so many cars trying to get to this fucking cage tag team match. And they made a shit ton of money. You've all got people that you like to wrestle, people that you're partners with, people that you often wrestle against, people that you want to work with. When I see wrestlers put up this list of like, promoters, make this happen, I want to wrestle so-and-so, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, I always go like, you don't fucking get it. Why the fuck are they going to book that? Just for your fucking pleasure? But what if you worked out an angle and a program? And at the end of it, everybody makes a fucking pile of money. What's stopping you from doing that right now? Work out angles, programs. Work in conjunction with bookers and promoters that you trust. How can we come up with a thing? And try to avoid, and then I win the title. Try to work around that first. Personal issues, sell tickets. And if you're interested in learning more, go find the story of that Sergeant Slaughter, Don Kernodle versus Jay Youngblood and Ricky Steamboat thing. Pretty amazing. How they built that thing up and then how they paid it off. And when I say paid it off, I mean everybody got paid. Number 1, reflect on the person that you want to be and the image that you are projecting. If I was still actively involved in wrestling and PCW, I gotta say, there's a bunch of wrestlers that I would go, just based on what you post on Facebook, I would not want to work with you because I would think that you are a dumb fuck. Who's the person that you want to be? And how is that reflected on social media? How many people, if I say right now, people in the wrestling business in Georgia who you don't like because of what they post on social media, or you think that they're dumb, you can come up with a pretty good list. Probably a P list of your own at least. Nobody thinks they wear the black hat. And yet there's so many people. And those are the people that don't really reflect on the person they want to be. They just throw their thing out there because they want to appear intelligent or a little more savvy than everybody else. And what ends up happening is you read their shit and you just go, this person is a dumb fuck. Every time you think you weaken the team is one of these things my father loved to say jokingly. But he wasn't wrong. And it becomes from people who are not really reflecting on the person that they want to be. Who the fuck do you want to be? And what is the image that you want to put out? And how can you reflect that through social media? If you're spending a lot of time on social media, but you're not making it work for you in a positive way, then that's a bad use of your time. Steve, are you saying be fake? I'm saying become the person that you want to be and reflect the person that you want to be on social media to the point where other people use that as a tool in which to evaluate you. It's what smart people do. And that was our top 10 P list of things to do as all of these wrestling shows are being canceled right now. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll talk to you again soon.